or excuse me, the Warren County, I'm so used to that, facilities meeting. We do have two agendas here, and we'll start with the building and grounds. We do have a quorum here today.
Yeah, I got it.
And does everybody have their agendas? Okay. Is there any discussions around the minutes of the previous meeting? If not, is there a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Loeb, Simpson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll
Next
abstain.
item, we have an abstention. Next item is just to let the members of the board know that there was an insurance recovery payment claim for a vehicle accident that came to the county and the total amount was $1,358.21. Any discussions around that? Motion to accept that? Simpson, Mr. Stroud. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, it's Amendment Resolution 314 of 2017. It's a lease agreement with Cornell. Apparently, Dr. Seeley is here today to discuss a lease arrangement with the county and also a new construction. So I'd like to turn that over to Dr. Seeley at this point in time.
Thank you. We received 2 grant awards from New York State Ag and Markets for $96,000 each. And Phase 1, we'd like to construct a greenhouse and a pole barn. Phase 2, we'd like to bring water and power to them in the second year. I know Frank's been working on the lease for the additional 2 buildings. I'll let him talk about that. But I would like the committee to keep in mind that we're funding the buildings, that we're responsible for all the maintenance, and if Cornell were ever to leave the site, they would become the property of the county. You include in your packet is the resolution, to construct the greenhouse pending engineering staff has approved the placement of the buildings, and I'll let Kevin talk about that. The next is a map of architect's drawing of where we'd like to place the buildings. The greenhouse adjacent to the existing building is down at the bottom of the bank. That's why we moved it a little bit away. And we'd like to put the pole barn at the end of the driveway next to an existing shed. And the reason obviously being eventually we'd like to run water and electricity to those buildings. You might have received also an aerial map of the site, and there's a couple of, that's another thing with the placement. The yellow would be the greenhouse, and the green would be the pole barn at the end of the driveway. Eventually, we'd like to make it a educational center, outdoor educational center for schools to come and visit, for community groups to come and participate. The next is a picture of the greenhouse. It is 16 by 36 with 6-foot sidewalls. We will have a local contractor build it. We have all the parts on site for the greenhouse right now. They came pretty quick. Yeah, about 2,000 pounds of steel. I almost lost one finger. But we got it there, so it's ready whenever we're ready. We're targeting mid-April, I think, for some site preparation. And that's really the only thing I'm asking from the county at this point, is some help with the site preparation. There's a topographical map that shows that the 2 areas we're looking to put the buildings are pretty flat. So it's not going to take a lot, but the budget committee, when I met with them last year and asked for some financial assistance, they recommended that we do it in the form of the county doing the site work, the site preparation. So that's pretty much what I have. I don't know if Kevin or Frank want to add to it. I've met with Kevin and the engineers.
I'll add a little onto it. Dr. Seeley came to actually this committee I think it was a year ago, and brought these to us. The greenhouse at that time was approved under Resolution 159 of 2017, as just conceptual until engineering reviewed and approved the final plan. We have looked at it now. We are okay with the structure that they're proposing to put up. As far as the pole barn, in the amendment today that we would change the lease agreement to add these two buildings, I'm still waiting for the pole barn plans. Dr. Seeley has assured me that they'll be coming shortly, and then again they'll be reviewed by engineering. And once we approve, then if it's okay with the committee, then they can construct at that time.
Any questions? Thank you. Is there a resolution to approve the amended lease agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension by Mr. Simpson? Seconded by Mr. McDevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Just
carries.
maybe one quick question.
Sure.
The greenhouse, in terms of, what are you going to grow there? I mean, what do you, is it summertime, wintertime?
No. That's a moneymaker. Well, as you know, we have a large Master Gardener program. We have about 50 Master Gardeners that we'd like to begin plants and work with there, but also have some school groups in to see the greenhouse and to work, in there to see how plants grow and what we do. So we have a number of different possibilities for it. And certainly to extend the growing season. Right now we have a little bitty garden, and we can only harvest from it one time a year for a very short period. So the greenhouse would extend the growing season of whatever it is we can grow in there.
That's great. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on with the agenda to, there's no referrals pending, correct?
There are referrals.
Meeting next week.
Page 2?
Page 11.
Oh, okay. I'll move right into the referrals. Court update, Frank, in the report.
Okay. The courts, the contractors are slowly going through a punch list on the building, and as each room is completed, we're locking the doors, kind of as a soft turnover to the county. This Friday, the 23rd, we're going to start moving family court temporary. We're going to move their cubicles and set them up temporarily where they are now. So they're going to be working off tables basically until we can get them moved in and up and running. But hopefully by next week or the week after, they'll be in the new area and operational in the new area. So we're coming along. Everything's going to kind of come together here in the next 2 weeks, all at once, I think. But it looks good in there. And again, I'd offer anybody who would like to go through. You really still need to be escorted, but I'd be happy to take anybody anytime. So
Could you arrange a group, just like they did with the health department or the DA?
sure.
I mean, I hate to inconvenience by calling up just for myself.
Well, we've done a group tour, so I mean, I'm happy to do another group, or I'm happy to do one or two at a time. It's
I'd like to go myself, Bill.
yeah, it's
Okay.
really not an inconvenience,
No, not at all.
Why don't you send out some kind of dates for the members that would...
Whatever you'd be available, Bill.
I'll send you an email, and if you give me a time and a date, we'll...
Okay?
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to, any other questions around the court project? Move on with the D&G recycling. At the last meeting, I brought up the fact that we hadn't renewed the contract. I was reviewing some of the language in the contract, and I left it at, hopefully the board members have gotten a copy of it and read it. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were. I also would like to schedule a visit at your leisure to go through the facility if you've never been through that facility down on Warren Street. So I'd like to get your thoughts, if you've read the contract, on how maybe you want to progress, or we can talk about that. Mary, would that be an executive session topic when we get into contractual discussions, or is that something that we can talk openly at the board meeting? Or would you like to get back to me on that?
I mean, it can be either. If you're going to
Okay.
try to use it for negotiation purposes,
Okay.
I would
All right.
recommend that you go into executive session.
All right. Has everybody had a chance to read the contract at all? No? Has everybody gotten a copy of the contract?
I've read it in the past. I don't remember getting.
Don, you're the only one that hasn't gotten it?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't get
Matt,
it.
none of you guys?
We sent an email out with it, but I can resend it.
Okay. Could you resend it to the entire board, please?
Sure, I think
To
we
the
did.
committee. Thank you. And then read it, we'll schedule the walkthrough, and we can have some discussion at that point in time about that, okay? All right, thank you. I don't think there is anything other than...
There's one more on referral while the treasurer's here. We were looking into whether or not certain monies could be spent on abatement in jail. I think Mike has an answer to that.
Well, yeah, and Mary, I'm going to have to kind of throw you under the bus here a little bit, because I haven't had a chance to get the information to you to review on the original resolution. So what I'm going to do is I will send it to her. My opinion is that we have to rework the resolution to get it so that you can use that money. I'll send that this afternoon up to Mary's office and see if she prefers or if she has any other thoughts. And we will try to get it to the next finance meeting if it needs to be adjusted.
Okay. At this point in time, I'm not proposing spending the money. I don't think we really have a plan yet on redevelopment, but the question was raised. There was some comments raised at the January meeting about opportunities with that particular area. So we'll leave it at that. We'll find out if the money is adequately available and if the board decides they want to pursue anything themselves. Anything else the board would like to talk about on building and grounds? Okay, we'll move into the airport agenda. Meeting has been called to order already. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Don't have to do that? All right. Okay, action and agenda, page 2.
There is nothing. Mr.
Nothing
Chairman.
to take any corrective action on. Item 4 is referrals. Airport manager hiring, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We probably really didn't have to have an airport facilities committee meeting today, but I wanted to make sure that I kept you all up to date on everything that was happening at the airport. The first thing I want to talk about is the airport manager hiring. Now that we are going to hire an airport manager, we got the job description completed as of Friday. Trish put it out on our website as of Friday, and Ross just sent me a publication, AAAE, which is an airport publication for jobs, that I will put it on this afternoon. Next item on the list was the FAA inspection. That was a discussion last month. I just received an email first thing this morning when I got in the office from Danielle Ciramello from FAA that says, "Thank you for the update. Your request for an extension is approved. This email may serve as your confirmation." The new correction dates, which I had provided her, some of them were the training for the airport personnel for fire and safety. I had provided dates to her. They've accepted all the dates that we've provided. So the last item that I had was the environmental assessment that the FAA was working on for the runway. I've asked for a couple weeks now for some determination of when FAA was going to finish their environmental assessment. They still haven't completed it yet, but there was as they refer to as a hiccup in the middle. They didn't notify the tribal organizations around this area. Now they have notified them, and they've gotten comments back from the tribal organizations that they have no issues. So at this point, they can start to complete their EA and issue a FONSI for that EA, which is a finding of no significant impact. That's it.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions? Mr. Beatty?
I've got a few. First of all, on the airport manager hiring, did you have So you're going to place an ad, that's correct, Kevin?
I am, yep.
And did you put a salary in there or a range?
No, it's neither. It's salary to commensurate with their experience.
Okay, all right. And then the EA for the runway 119, there's nothing about environmental concerns in there.
As of right now, I have none from FAA on that.
Okay, so they haven't weighed in either way on that.
You're right, they haven't issued, when I say they're issuing a FONSI, I'm assuming they will issue a finding of no significant impact, but I haven't gotten that back from them yet.
So we really don't know yet?
Correct.
All right. Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank
When
you.
do we expect that, Kevin, in writing?
I'm hoping within the next couple weeks. They've switched, it used to be Suki Gill, who was the manager for FAA that was working on this. She has since moved on, and they have somebody else within the position now taking it over. So I think he's just getting himself up to speed, and once he does, we should have an answer.
Okay, good. Any other questions around issues at the airport? Open up to the floor. Mr. Whitehead.
Thank you. Yeah, the name of Suki Gill's replacement is,
Edward Canisio.
I think I need to bring him up to speak. Canicio?
I can send you an email, Travis, for his name.
All right. I mean, a finding of no significant impact is ludicrous. We've had a lot of discussions about this over years, and I just want to make sure that he's aware of all that stuff. You know, everything else has been going to Suki Gill. So I'd like to get that contact going. Thank you.
Thank you. The only additional comments I have in regards to the airport, I did mention at our board meeting that the RFP has been released with minor changes relative to prevailing wage, and that's it. I don't know which members here have gotten a copy of the RFP, but I've asked, we've developed or formed a negotiating committee, and I spoke with a member over the weekend about that. And is the purchasing agent in today?
I assume she is.
Okay. Could someone, Mary, your office, or purchasing agent, get a copy of the RFP to Mr. Sokol, Mr. McDevitt, and Mr. Beatty?
I don't think it went out. Did it go out to
It
people?
did go out.
Oh, a long time ago.
I'll get it over.
No, there's been a second version that's been out that also refers to prevailing wage. Did you get that? Where it talks about prevailing wage?
I just got the RFP.
Okay.
So I haven't had a chance to review it yet, but we just got it.
Okay, just make sure that's supposed to be the only modification to the RFP is reference to prevailing wage.
I'll make sure I do that.
Could I get another copy?
Sure.
A hard copy? Yeah.
I'll send out copies of
Okay,
all of it.
thank you. And anybody else on the board that would like it, please mention that to Kevin. We'll get it to you guys as quickly as possible. Mr. Gowan, we also I would suggest that you get a copy of the current contract that we have for the FBO to do your comparison, to use towards your negotiation. So if you have any questions or anything that comes up in a timely manner, please let me know, and I'll help you out as much as I can. Okay? I don't think I have anything else. Anything else from the public that would like to talk about the airport? The motion?
You know, in the past year, we've had several pilots in Travis. And the status of that has been fine. So it's out there, constructed input on the RFP. I don't know how it's going to proceed.
The RFP has already been developed. It was sent out with an RFQ in advance to give them an idea of what we're asking in the RFQ. But then it's a process now of examining the information that's been presented in the RFP from the bidders, and then sitting down and talking about terms and conditions of the RFP. But
That was not your question, was it, Doctor?
the material.
The question,
Yeah.
we're well aware of that. The question is, what's the role of the airport advisory group or pre-existing?
You're certainly welcome to a copy of the RFP, but the financials in the RFP are not to be disclosed. There are some financial information in there that, at the request of the respondee, that we do not disclose that, and we will not be able to disclose the financials. But as far as the overall bidding process or the review process, that's a public document.
Jack, may I make a comment? Thank you very much. I don't think that's what the doctor was actually asking, okay? I think there was in place an active airport advisory group, and there were half a dozen people, 7 or 8 different people on that met monthly,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a scheduled meeting on the agenda, separate from the facilities chairmanship. So I think there was a feeling on the part of some members of that committee that they added value and constructive comments, people on both sides of the question, pro, con, and at the end of the day, I think the feeling was that they would like to continue with that advisory committee. So-
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. You certainly can bring a report, or we can include you on the agenda, in regards to any discussions around the issue itself.
I think Matt was kind of sub-chairing that up, Matt Sokol.
So
he can help.
Sure.
I think it was a month or two ago, it came up, and I think I was talking to Travis about this, and I don't mind holding another meeting. I think a lot of work was done for the year, but it almost seemed like we were spinning our wheels as well. So maybe it is better posed in a setting or an environment like this where we've got a lot of supervisors, where before we only had, like Peter said, maybe 6 or 7 on that
Mhm.
committee. So here we have a full committee plus other supervisors that come to this particular county city facilities meeting. Maybe it's appropriate to have it combined with this.
Sure, we could set some time allowed on the agenda for that. Why not? Okay, so we'll put together an agenda for the next month, and we'll include the Airport Advisory Committee to come in and participate, and we'll appropriate some time for that, if that is what the board would like to see. Mr. Lowe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a master plan for the airport that was done close to 20 years ago. It makes a lot of projections, tells the status of the type of aircraft and the number of landings back in 2000. It makes projections out to 2020. I would like to see us in-house. I think it's something a high school student would do. So I'd like to see us in-house go out and see where we stand with regard to those projections. I mean, what are the actual aircraft that are operating at airport? There were a lot of projections, and we're trying to make decisions.
Would you like to undertake that?
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, great, thank you. And we'll certainly listen to what you bring back to a report on that proposal that was done 20 years ago. Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to reach out real quick and say thank you to Rich here and Steve Abbott. A couple of the items that were on that inspection list, they needed to take corrective action, and they did. So I just want to say thank you for assisting us with that.
Thank you for your patience.
Anything that you need in regards to that small project?
Well, I have the master plan.
You do have it? Okay, great.
CD, and I'll come by and impose on you folks for some assistance along that line. But thank you.
Good, thank you. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
I'm going to run down.